Hey everybody, welcome back to Thoughts by Jay Brown. And yes, it's a video. Well, I've been recording some audio only podcast topics that I've been wanting to discuss, and this was supposed to be one of those. Then the events that brought it up have come to light, and therefore I felt the need to make a video on it. So today's topic is going to be broadly communications, but with a little narrower focus than my audio stuff. So let's hit that intro.
Greetings, program.
Okay, so I'm a little behind the times on this, but when I found about it yesterday, when I was actually bored on YouTube and watching other things than what I have been lately, I have decided to talk about this topic. But before we get into that topic, why communications, broader terms? Well, and I'm going to try and post a picture right here. I've been reading this book, An Immigrant's Love Letter to the West by Konstantin Kisin of Trigonometry. And trigonometry has been a nice distraction on YouTube for me for a while. I've actually really appreciated what they do and appreciate what they are providing for everybody, and just wanted to say thank you to Constantine by buying his book. Well, I bought the Kindle version, which is why I'm doing the picture. But overall, what he talks about in that book is basically our inability to communicate with each other because we're unwilling to break the tribalism. There are some of us like him, like myself and others, that are willing to do that. But the problem is neither side wants to hear from us. The right is actually a little more perceptive to our willingness to talk, but they don't necessarily agree with everything that we want to say. So, for example, I'm doing blog posts right now on my jbrownmedia.com page about the Second Amendment. And my latest one, I'm talking about, universal health care. How many right-wing people are going to agree with me on a universal health care system? Not many, especially when I say it's paid by taxpayer dollars. But it is what it is. But when it comes to communicating overall in general, we have to trust that the people we're communicating with are honest with us, that they're being an honest interlocutor, as we are hopefully projecting to them the same trust that we're expecting back. I'm expecting you to be honest with me about your opinion on a topic when we're discussing it. That doesn't mean that you're not capable of providing me with misinformation, and I might provide you with misinformation because maybe something I've read or heard and haven't verified is wrong. It happens. It happens all the time in communication. That said, why I decided to move this from a audio-only podcast to the video realm is because of what happened to Tim Pool this week. Well, last week, during the January the hearing on July 12th for the January 6th insurrection stuff in the House. What brought this to my attention is actually this video here from the Lotus Eaters, the podcast of the Lotus Eaters. Yes, it's Carl Benjamin's project. It's his business. And they're talking about how Tim Pool responded to this clip that they're showing there, and which I will show here in a minute. Tim Pool wrote an op-ed in Newsweek to say that this is messed up. Why would you do this? And I have to agree with him. So before we go any further, let's cut into that video clip right now.
Meanwhile, other key Trump supporters, including far-right media personalities, began promoting the wild protest on January 6th.
It's Saturday. December 19th. The year is 2020. And one of the most historic events in American history has just taken place. President Trump, in the early morning hours today, tweeted that he wants the American people to march on Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021.
And now Donald Trump is calling on his supporters to descend on Washington, D.C., January 6th.
He is now calling on we, the people, to take action and to show our numbers.
We're going to only be saved by millions of Americans moving to Washington, occupying the entire area, if necessary, storming right into the Capitol. You know, we know the rules of engagement. If you have enough people, you can push down any kind of a fence or a wall.
This could be Trump's last stand. And it's a time when he has specifically called on his supporters to arrive in D.C. That's something that may actually be the big push Trump supporters need to say, this is it. It's now or never.
So as you can see, whoever made this clip decided to put Tim Pool, a pro-Trump supporter, and you'll see that. I'll try to take a screenshot and grab it there, but either way, Tim Pool is a pro-Trump supporter. Yeah, unless in the case of if you're only able to vote for two parties, he viewed Trump as the lesser of two evils. So, can you really call him a pro-Trump supporter in that case? But when you hear him talking on those clips, he sounds like a Trump supporter, doesn't he? I wonder why that is. Could it have anything to do with the selective editing that is the political discourse in today's day and age? And it's not just the left doing it. It's not just the right doing it. It's both sides are doing it to each other. They are lying to you to get you to pick a side. Stop. We need to stop and, hold the media accountable. But to have an elected official present this as Tim Pool's actual opinions and that he was actually trying to instigate people into doing this? No. If you know anything about Tim Pool, and he doesn't need me to do this, it's just, this is the perfect opportunity to talk about it. We have to, if our elected officials are allowed to get away with selectively editing something to make it sound like you're advocating something that you're not, they should be censured wholeheartedly. And if it wasn't them that created it, might not have been Raskin's office. It could have been another elected representative's office that did it. Doesn't matter. Whoever's office created that should be censured. Maybe not removed from office, but if it becomes a habit, then yes, it definitely should be. But as we sit here and talk about this, I think back to the fact that I am a registered and paid to current member of the Public Relations Society of America. While I'm not employed as a public relations specialist as much as I would love to be right now, I have to sit here and think about, what does this type of work, this type of message, give to the people about people who are in public relations? It reaffirms that we are here to spin and throw mud and all this other shit that has no business being our profession. We should be presenting the truth of whatever it is we're talking about. Whatever it is that our employer, if we're employed by an actual company, our clients, if we are independent or work in a public relations firm, we should be presenting their message in the best light that we can. And sometimes that message is admitting that we're wrong. And you know what? I need to stop and think to see if Raskin made an apology. Sorry about that. I actually wanted to make sure before I said anything more rash. Raskin needs to apologize for this because he's the head of the committee and he should be showing that he has the integrity to say, oh, we didn't mean to put it this way, or this was done by, whatever. Sure, some lowly intern or some low-level PR person or marketing person is going to, or video editor even, is going to get the blame for this, not the actual representatives. But they need to acknowledge that this is not proper practice. This is not proper protocol of somebody in their position. They should not be at all, ever trying to quote mine or selectively edit somebody's words when they are doing this. The purpose of these committees is to be fact-finding. They are to show that this is what's going on. Now, Tim Pool's video clip is actually from almost a 30-minute long podcast, which is what he does. He takes about a 30-minute segment, talks about a main topic, kind of tangents here and there, but ultimately comes back to the main point of the topic. And in this case, it was to tell people don't go on January 6th. It was to advise people not to get involved. Why? Because something like this would get misconstrued as a rebellion, as an insurrection, as whatever it is, And that's the problem. Even when trying to prevent it, Tim Pool is declared a pro-Trump supporter and an instigator in this. And if you don't believe me that that's how it's taken, check out this Newsweek article written by Tim Pool, an op-ed, talking about the January 6th committee misrepresented me, his opinion. And that's just it. They did try to misrepresent him. Representative Jamie Raskin of Maryland tried to connect the then President Trump's tweet calling his supporters to come rally in Washington on January 6th with a violent attack that later unfolded. As you read, or as you watch his video and read this, you'll understand that that is not what Tim's message was. Tim's message was that we need to stop, cool our jets, and come back from this precipice that could lead to the destruction of our nation, to the losing of fundamental rights that are enshrined and guaranteed in the Constitution. Yes, the Constitution is malleable. Yes, the Constitution can be edited and amended, but not over knee-jerk reactions. The government shall not make any laws that abridge the right to freedom of speech. The government shall not establish a religion. The government shall not infringe upon your right to keep and bear arms. The government shall not abridge your right to peaceably assemble and to ask for the government for a redress of grievances. These are just words, some of the words from the First and Second Amendments. The core principles of our republic, not our democracy, our republic. And if you don't believe me that this is what they're trying to do, that they are trying, and I mean, just in general, the politicians, the lobbyists, the people that don't care about the average American. Jamie Raskin doesn't care about his constituents. Jamie Raskin doesn't care about the Americans outside of his district at all. Because if he did, he wouldn't have had played that video knowing that it was selectively edited. Had they played it and he realized that it was selectively edited before Tim Pool called him out, he would have apologized. Now that it's been called out to him, he should be apologizing and hasn't. It has been almost a week since this has gone on. And guess what? I doubt we will ever see an apology, a public apology from Raskin. So, I look forward to talking more on my audio podcast about communication, a little bit more in depth. I like to do these a little bit more broader, a little bit more all encompassing, and then narrow them down by topic. So I plan on keeping doing videos. I plan on keeping doing these types of things, but I want to focus more on my writing and my audio. And with major news events, especially with the midterms coming up, I'm planning on doing more videos, more things like that. And I hope that you will continue to watch. Links will be down below to my blog posts, as well as once I get it up and running, my various podcasts. So, all right. With that, let me just say one last thing. Again, I've already said it, but I don't need to do this. I don't need to talk about this topic in particular on behalf of Tim Pool for Tim Pool's sake, because I'm a nobody. I doubt Tim Pool will even see this video. If he does, great. I don't, great. But when it comes to talking about something that I've gone to school for, something that I'm actually passionate about, which is communication, it drives me nuts that we are so, as a society, complicit to allowing it to happen. That you and I, mainly everybody else, are willing to let people dictate to us what we can and cannot say. We're willing to let people talk over us, shout us down, talk at us, rather than talk to us. And what's the difference of being talked at and talked to? Talk to implies that we can actually have a conversation. Being talked at means that they don't care to hear what you have to say. So I just ask that when it comes to discussions, people, please be open-minded. We are all humans. All of us. That's what our DNA is. So let's treat each other with respect. Let's talk to each other with respect. Don't fly off the handle, but that will be a discussion on communication for another time on another platform. And with that, thank you and peace.